Next up, Vytautas Ašeris, Head of Innovation Hub at MobileLife.lt.
Hello. Nice to see you all. Today I'm going to tell a story about the biggest bank in Denmark that has 19,000 employees and has decided not to wait until some crazy outside fintech startup would disrupt them. That has decided to create an organization that's called MobileLife to do that from within. And the goal of this talk is not for you to get back and disrupt your own organizations. The goal is much more simple. Maybe you'll find just a tiny little detail that you can apply tomorrow, in a week, in a month, or in a year. So, I'm Vytautas Ašeris, and first of all, I'm just a huge IT fan. What I like about IT a lot is it actually helps to automate boring processes for lazy people. And I'm one of them, actually. So I've worked in numerous IT organizations and IT-related organizations like Bite, Affecto, i3, Tieto, and some others. And then secondly, I teach in Vilnius University. I teach courses of applied object-oriented programming and professionalism and ethics. And thirdly, and think most importantly, I'm just a MacGyver guy. I will do just about anything and everything to get the team that I'm working with to progress. And these three things combined lead me to being head of MobileLife Lithuania for 1.5 years by now. And today I'm going to try to answer three questions. Disrupting organization from within, when does it work? Future employee, how does he look like? And how not to become complacent. Okay? So the first question is disrupting organization from within, when does it work? Now I showed these slides to my colleague a couple of days before. And he looked at that and said, Vito, maybe you should drop the when. Maybe you should just leave, does it work? Now he's a bit grumpy, so don't mind. But I'll try to answer both does and when. Okay? Let's think about three companies, Nokia, Kodak, and BlackBerry. What do they have in common? Dead. Yes, you could call them dead-ish. There are many things probably that are in common, including probably letter A in their names, right? One important and common thing, well, if they are not dead, they had it coming, they had something great, but then they lost it, right? John Chambers, former CEO of Cisco, has stated that 40% of all companies by 2020 will be outcompeted and ran out of business by smaller, more nimble, more agile organizations. I'm kind of from the banking industry, right? Let's look at the banks. 75% of the customers said they had to wait for their answer too long. And 65 of those didn't even get the right one, right? And frankly, if I'm not going to work, I hate going to the banks myself, right? So what can we do? We could imagine a change that is happening in the market as a big wave. And then you have two choices. Either try to be big and block the wave of change, or you can be the surfer guy that rides the wave of change, that leads it, right? So in 2014, Board of Directors, Danske Bank, has established an organization that's called MobileLife and gave it mandate and freedom to create something that hasn't existed yet. And in this organization, we combine two things: a muscle of a corporate, but the soul of a startup. And we combine best things out of these two worlds: purpose and passion, fast execution, innovation from the startups, and then corporate strengths, trustworthy brand, financing, customers, customer data, core systems to build on top, right? So that's kind of strange marriage that you have, right? What does it take for this marriage to work? What are prerequisites? Let's take a step back. Let's imagine IT organization 10 years ago, let's say. So probably you're doing your projects waterfall way, right? And then you're working in a team of 6 and you come up with this idea, agile project management could be good. You go to your management and you say, I think this is a good idea and let's do it. And management probably thinks, yeah, we should trust our employees and you know, let them do something. And then you get back to your team, you start doing things agile way. And then it works for your team, right? But then when you try to scale it, when you try to spread it across organization, somehow it's very inertic. People are inertic to change. Why is that? Let's simplify the example. Let's imagine that you have a needle that has bacteria in it. And you go like this, and you add this bacteria to your vein. And despite the fact that you added it yourself, the immune system is trying to fight it, right? Same thing happens with Agile. With the example, corporate immune system is trying to fight the bacteria. So unless you have full top management and board of directors support, then you're probably going to lose a battle against corporate immune system, right? Another thing very important is having higher tolerance for failure. What would have happened in that example if after 1 or 2 sprints, which probably both failed, management would have said, no, I think waterfall way works better. We should stick to the old stuff. Then you are getting nowhere. So you have to have higher tolerance for failure. So in MobileLife, we have a goal of challenging the status quo of Danske Bank by developing solutions that have real and meaningful impact on people's lives. And we try to focus, the word MobileLife comes from the fact that we try to focus on people's life events, whether it be children, whether it be marriage, new job, pension, buying a house, anything. Maybe, and just maybe, then the customers would like the bank a bit better, right? So for disruptor organization to work, it's very important what products are you delivering. So all the banks usually do 3 things: payments, lending, and wealth management. So for payment, we have a magnificent app in Danske Bank that's called MobilePay. And I'll touch on that later. We, in MobileLife, try to focus on the other 2, lending and wealth management. And we have 3 solutions: Sunday Decay, Sunday Owner, and June Decay. So Sunday Decay is our home buying digital journey solution. Basically, you can go on a website and buy yourself a house, get a loan, right? And not only we did create a fancy web page to achieve that, we integrated through the whole way to the bank. We automated a bunch of processes. Average time needed by back office to give one loan used to be 800 minutes. We are on a path to decreasing that to 150 minutes, so by 6 times. Next solution is Sunday Owner. Apparently, it's a national sport in Denmark to reconfigure a loan every now and then, right? So we have 2 applications to do that. It's really simple. You open up, you want to reconfigure a loan, you do that in the app. And then 3rd application, June Decay, it's a micro-investment app. If you have as little as 100 Danish kroner, you can invest them in 10 minutes really easily. And those 10 minutes include you becoming customer of the bank, right? Another important thing, how to organize such an organization within the organization of 150 years. So first of all, we relocated. We have 100 employees in Denmark and 30 in Lithuania. Both of the sites are separated from the other sites of Danske Bank. We are not sitting with anyone who's doing remotely something similar. Why? To keep the innovative approach, to keep the spirit of the startup within the team. And then another very important thing, we are not just an IT organization. We do everything. We are a full business organization. Not only we do IT, we do legal, user experience, advanced analytics, marketing, strategy, right? And most importantly, this house of MobileLife is built on strong foundation on passion. Right? And we'll talk about passion in the second question. But to conclude, disruptive organizations, does it work? Yes. When? I would say two things: having the right support and delivering proper solutions, proper products. Okay? Moving to the second question, employee of tomorrow. Who are innovative organizations looking for? And first of all, I think it's all about the attitude. When we look for people to be self-driven, passionate, courageous, and honest. When you have these four, your employees will never tell you, this is none of my responsibility, right? So it's always personality first and only professional after, always. Second thing is being cross-function. I think the times of one-trick ponies where you stand in a factory and you stand one thing for your whole life is way in the past. So we look for example, our web developers, we look for them to challenge user experience guys. I think what you draw here is nonsense, right? And the other way around, we would like the user experience guy to look at web developer, I think you're coding wrong, right? And then third thing, cross-border. So when doing presentations like this, you have to do some statistics, right? So I looked up, and in West Lithuania, for the last couple of months, have attracted 7 companies to Lithuania that will create 1,000 workplaces in upcoming years. Almost all of them will require for employees to engage in cross-border relationships. Okay? What does it mean to engage in cross-border relationship? It means to be aware about cultural differences, be travel-friendly, and be connecting and engaging. And we want that because we want all of our teams to be cross-border. And soon I'll tell you why. Does anyone have an idea why I put fridge and somebody looking very grumpy in the slide? No. For the last year, I've been cancelled of approximately 5 meetings with Denmark because their fridge broke down. They got bicycle to take from service. They got the furniture delivered and stuff like that. It really, in the beginning, it really annoyed me, and so did the others. And then on the other side, you see somebody really being grumpy. And I've got this feedback a lot of times myself, and quite about few people in the team, in the Lithuanian team. Danes asking, why are you guys so grumpy all the time? Why are you not happy? Why don't you celebrate success? It's always, whatever you do, it's not good enough, right? So I think for future employees, it's very important not only to cope with such differences, but to engage and embrace in those, and to work in synergy with those, right? Second thing, travel. Let's talk about jazz. It seems relevant at this point. I'm not too keen on jazz, but I know a thing or two. When jazz bands play, usually they practice a lot alone, and when they get together for the play in the evening, they play, and hopefully they find a groove, a moment where improvisation picks up, and then, the music that you're hearing is really excellent. And then afterwards they go out and hang out. They have a drink, they share the stories of their life, they share the stories of their traveling. And then next day, when we are playing in this band, and I'm doing my piece, and I look at you, and I remember a story that you shared with me yesterday, and probably some part of my brain starts to work a bit differently. I feel more cozy. Probably it happens with everyone. And then there's a bigger possibility that there will be a groove, right? So we try to do exactly the same. We want all of our teams to be jazz bands, to find a groove when they work. So whenever we travel, we hang out, we drink, not too much. We do team buildings, anything, right? Rock climbing. And then third thing is actually being connecting and engaging. What you see on the right-hand side is what I call 24/7 setup. Basically, that's a setup that has a webcam and a screen, and then a mic and PC, everything. So when you have a cross-border team, let's say you have 7 guys in Lithuania and 5 in Denmark, both of the sides have the setup. And it's always streaming the other side. Right? So you always see the other side. And it wasn't a smooth drive with these ones. At some point, some of the guys came to me and said, Vito, and I don't remember was it in Denmark or in Lithuania. They came to me and said, Vito, it's something, we're not sure about this setup. Because the other side did it in a way that half of the screen is occupied by one guy's face. And he's always picking his nose. And you know what's worse? He looks at it afterwards and goes, poof. It's disgusting, right? But my answer was no, it's good. Because he's a human to you now. He's not a Slack message to you. He's not a Skype message. He's not a voice in your headpiece. He's a human being. Disgusting habits and all, but a human being, right? It's very important. And then, let's say you have these people, you have the right people. How do you keep them motivated? How do you keep them happy? And my answer is really simple. Enable for them to feel like at work, like at home, but produce like at work, right? And that can be accomplished by 2 things to my understanding. Accommodating office solutions and proper HR organization, right? This is a picture of what we saw when we started in January 2016. I saw this office and I thought, well, this will be quite a ride, right? Not cozy, uninspiring, not cross-border ready at all, and not reusable, not very efficient. So what we did, we relocated and we refurbished our office. And the pictures doesn't do justice. A lot of people from inside and outside say the office is really cozy now, including the mayor of Vilnius, for crying out loud. Right. Second thing, there's a scientific research that actually says that productivity and creativity can be increased by 15% by adding more plants to the office. Right? Actual scientific research. So we went gardening. We had tomatoes, we had hops, we had passion fruit. Actually, passion fruit is the one surviving our gardening skills. Then being cross-border ready. So not only all the teams have these 24/7 setups, all the meeting rooms, including the leisure ones, have the setup to connect to the other side always. So you integrate both sides every moment possible. Right? And then last thing, being reusable. We redecorated our kitchen not to be only kitchen. It's a meeting room as well. There's a bunch of small tables and you can have a little non-confidential meetings there. And I just had few, just 2 days ago, and it felt really cozy. And when you think why, it's actually if you know the person at least half decently and you invite him to your home, you sit in the kitchen, you have a cup of coffee in the kitchen and you talk. Why not do that at work, right? So in the end, let's say you have the right people. Let's say you have the right office, so to speak, right? Does this make you deliver as an organization? Does this make your products competitive and so on? And the answer is no, of course. You need a proper leadership to guide that, right? On the other hand, if you have these people that are passionate and self-driven, then all you have to do is empower them. Give them the responsibility. Real work doesn't happen in hierarchy. Real work happens within the teams. Real work happens within the jazz band, if you will, right? This here is a famous picture of Battle of Grunwald. I don't know if you noticed, but it's a bit funny, because one magnificent colleague of ours took liberty to exchange the original faces on the picture with the ones of MobileLife employees. And I think it's really, really symbolic, because this battle wasn't won in hierarchy as well. It was won by people, by soldiers fighting shoulder to shoulder within their teams. Right? So the answer to the question, how does the future employee look like, is very simple to me. It's a self-driven and passionate individual who's willing to fight shoulder to shoulder within his jazz band, even though the jazz band is spread across the border. Make sense? And then third question, welcoming the changes. How not to become complacent? So being the innovative organization trying to create something new, it's very important to embrace the uncertainty. If there's no such thing in the market, then you don't know how to predict how long will it take you to do something. As an example, in the beginning, we thought that we might decrease the time needed to give one loan from 800 minutes to 80. But then we figured, actually, that customers are not that ready yet. We had to incorporate some back office work into our application, right? So it's very important to embrace uncertainty on both ways, within the teams, within the jazz band, and by top management who's supporting you, right? A lot of times we are working by developing so-called MVP solutions, minimum viable product. So even though if we know that we would like to build a car, we are building a skateboard in the beginning. And afterwards we are building a scooter, afterwards a bicycle, right? The real trick here is once you build a bicycle and you're happy with it and you want to build a motorcycle, what do? Do you throw away the bicycle completely and take only learning from that? Or do you reuse the wheels and the lamps? So it's very important to have the right people to do that. Another thing very important for not becoming complacent is actually user experience, ensuring user centricity. Now, at some point in my career, I thought, user experience guys, what the hell do they do? They probably do two things. One, draw some pictures in Photoshop, and second, they totally mismanage their time. Right? And I was wrong. I was very wrong about the first one. Actually, when user experience guys are working in a timely manner, they can discover what the users really want. Here you see a graph showing online bank and mobile bank growth by customers. And then you see mobile pay appearing and disrupting all this market, right? Because user experience guys figured what users wanted. They wanted a simple application to transfer money by just having your number, right? Once you figure this, you're good to go. What we do in MobileLife, let's take Sunday for example. So let's imagine you want to buy a house. So in the beginning, when you recognize, yeah, I'm gonna buy a house. It's really good. You feel very excited. Then afterwards, you start to explore and it's not that good. Yeah, there isn't too many houses in the area I liked. There isn't, these houses are too expensive. So exploring is not that fun. And then when you choose, you kind of, okay, you have chosen the one that you liked. Then your mood is good again. But then you have to sell your own house, right? And nobody wants that, right? So then again, you're sad, right? So user experience guys try to address these points. And it's very important that it's not only user experience guys, that it's the whole organization that is thinking about user centricity, right? So it's all about the mindset in the end, right? We have only 130 employees over both countries, but 17 different nationalities to ensure that we have huge diversity and we don't get complacent, right? Of course, you need proper and strong leadership to guide that diversity, right? And also, cross-functional thinking helps a lot as well. So in the end, what works for us is collaboration over hierarchy, jazz band teams. Right? Skills over titles. All of our employees are called corporate entrepreneurs. All of them. Right? People over processes. I strongly believe, no matter the organization, people should be #1 priority, right? And then finally, learning over forecasting, right? It's important to recognize what you have learned instead of just forecasting, right? And you can say, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, right? So in the end, it's all about people, passion, and courage to embrace the uncertainty, right? And if you liked what you heard, I would really encourage you to read this book, Yes to the Mess. You would find quite a few more details like this in that book. Thank you. And I was told there was no question and answer session, but I'll be standing at the door, and if you have any questions, just come to me. Right? Thank you.